In a world where stories unfold at the speed of a scroll, there are rare moments that don't just capture attention but seize it, hold it, and refuse to let go. Imagine this. The world wakes up to an unexpected wave of whispers, headlines racing across platforms, and fans holding their breath in disbelief. Something unusual, something almost cinematic, has just happened. And at the very center of it stands a man whose name alone is enough to ignite a global conversation, Kim Taehyung, better known as V of BTS. On the morning of February 2025, the world was shaken not by scandal, not by controversy, but by something deceptively simple yet breathtakingly powerful: the unveiling of his long-awaited artistic project, a photo book titled Rêvé. Why would a photo book trigger such a storm of intrigue? Why would one release, one piece of work, dominate conversations across continents? The answer lies not just in the glossy images or the careful design, but in the story beneath, the strategy behind, and the vision it represents. This is not just about celebrity, it is about brand power, global influence, and the way one individual can redefine value in an era where images pass in front of our eyes by the millions each day. Kim Taehyung has always been more than an idol. Even during his mandatory military service, when visibility is limited and updates come only in fragments, his presence lingers. Fans, brands, and the media don't just wait for his return. They orbit around his aura, eager for every glimpse. When Rêvé appeared, it wasn't simply a collection of photographs. It was a statement, a manifesto, a reminder that true artistry transcends absence. And here lies the first insight. In branding, scarcity is not weakness, it is leverage. By offering less, Taehyung amplified demand. By staying silent, he built suspense. By vanishing from the public eye, he made the world crave his reappearance. But what makes Rêvé different? At its core, it is a photo book, yes, but packaged in a way that feels luxurious, dreamlike, and intimate. The name itself, French for dream, signals more than style. It signals aspiration. And in the economy of attention, aspiration is currency. This is the second insight. When a brand, or in this case, a person, aligns themselves with aspiration, they elevate beyond product into symbol. Taehyung isn't selling paper and ink. He is selling emotion, imagination, and access to a dream his audience longs to touch. Yet the story does not end with release. The real shock came with the ripple effect. Within hours, hashtags spread like wildfire. Within days, pre-orders climbed to numbers that turned industry heads. And behind all this noise, business analysts noticed something crucial. Taehyung was proving that a personal brand can hold its ground even in enforced absence. While others in the entertainment world struggled to stay relevant, he demonstrated that relevance can be designed, managed, and maximized if you understand the psychology of anticipation. Pause here for a moment, because the real question isn't just, what did Taehyung release? The deeper, more compelling question is, how did he turn a photo book into a global conversation? And if you lean closer, the answer reveals itself in layers: mystery, scarcity, identity, and timing. Mystery, because he teased just enough without overexposing. Scarcity, because he offered one item, not a flood. Identity, because the product reflected his unique aesthetic rather than something generic. And timing, because February 2025 wasn't random. It was chosen, deliberate, aligned with fan anticipation during a quiet period in the industry. At this point, viewers might ask, is this just about celebrity? Or is there something more universal here? The truth is, Taehyung's move mirrors principles used by the world's biggest luxury brands. Think of how Hermès releases limited collections, how Rolex thrives on waitlists, how Apple creates lines outside its stores. The logic is the same: control supply, elevate desire, and turn consumption into participation. Fans didn't just buy Rêvé. They became part of the story. They were no longer passive consumers. They were active members of a shared global moment. And here's where the teaser comes in. If one photo book could shift the atmosphere like this, what happens next? What if Rêvé is just the beginning, a gateway into a larger vision? Could there be a companion film, a music piece, or a future exhibition? Fans speculate endlessly, and speculation itself becomes fuel. The suspense is intentional. It keeps people watching, keeps them hungry, keeps them in the loop of curiosity. But let's step back again, because beyond the fandom, there's a lesson for anyone chasing growth, whether in business, creativity, or personal branding. Taehyung's story shows that impact doesn't always come from doing more. It often comes from doing less, but doing it with intention. Instead of flooding the market with endless content, he curated one carefully crafted project. Instead of shouting for attention, he whispered, and the world leaned closer. That is power. That is influence. And that is how brands, whether corporate or personal, move from ordinary to legendary. The climax of this story comes not in the numbers, not in the headlines, but in the quiet realization that what Taehyung achieved was more than sales or press. He created value. Not the kind measured in dollars alone, but in perception, in prestige, in narrative control. And when you control the narrative, you don't just participate in the market, you lead it. Fans didn't just witness Rêvé. They felt like they owned a piece of history, a tangible bridge to their idol during a period of distance. That emotional bond is priceless. As the frenzy continued through February, business leaders, marketers, and entrepreneurs began to draw comparisons. They saw in Taehyung a case study, how to build anticipation, how to leverage scarcity, how to turn silence into momentum. His strategy was not about being everywhere at once. It was about being exactly where it mattered, exactly when it mattered, with something that mattered. And now, as the dust settles, a lingering question remains. What is the next chapter? Will Taehyung expand his artistic empire? Will Rêvé evolve into a series? Will his brand continue to redefine luxury in ways that go beyond fashion, beyond music, into the wider cultural stage? We don't yet know, but that is precisely why the world continues to watch. In the end, this is more than a celebrity update. It is a mirror reflecting what makes influence truly last. Not noise, not excess, but focus, scarcity, identity, and timing. It is about daring to dream, and then giving that dream form. Kim Taehyung called his project Rêvé, and in doing so, he reminded the world that dreams are not just to be seen, they are to be held, shared, and celebrated. So here is the emotional closure. If a single photo book could ripple across nations, what could your dream do if you dared to bring it into reality? If Taehyung, even in absence, could build anticipation and deliver impact, what's stopping you from shaping your own brand, your own business, your own art in the same way? Dreams, after all, are not the privilege of the famous. They're the right of anyone willing to pursue them with clarity and courage. And as we close this chapter, consider this a call to action. Don't just scroll past the moment. Don't just consume the story. Ask yourself, what is the Rêvé you have yet to create? Because 2025 isn't just Taehyung's year, it could be yours too. If you decide to turn your vision into something the world can't ignore, the world did not expect it. In February 2025, silence turned into shock as BTS's Kim Taehyung, known as V, unveiled Rêvé, a photo book that instantly captivated millions. On the surface, it was just pages of images, but in truth, it was a masterclass in branding. Taehyung proved that scarcity is power. By vanishing into military service, he built suspense, and with one release, he redefined luxury. Rêvé wasn't paper and ink, it was aspiration, emotion, a dream his fans could hold. The impact rippled across headlines, showing how anticipation can be more powerful than constant noise. This was not gossip, it was strategy, the same logic luxury brands like Hermès and Rolex used to make desire bigger than supply. The lesson is clear. Dreams become valuable when delivered with focus, timing, and identity. And